Welcome to Simple Kicking with your host, James Harrison.
Ty Long of the Los Angeles Chargers. Dude, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a while. Glad to be on.
I know I've lost some hair since the last time you saw me. Okay, dude, I grew up going to some kicking camps with you. We were kickers. But what position do you play? There's some people that are confused, and I'm confused now. I knew you as a kicker, but what position are you?
Four-string quarterback, punter, kicker, holder, kickoff, whatever. I can snap if I need to.
Last season, though, you broke a record, which was the first rookie since 1997, Olinda Mari, who we talked about in a previous podcast episode with the great John Carney. Make sure you check out that episode. And you made a field goal, you had a punt, and a kickoff in the same game.
Yeah, it was something that came late notice. We found out we were going, or I found out I was doing it on Friday of the game week. You know, went into it, and our kicker unfortunately got hurt. On Thursday or Friday, and they came up to me and said, "Hey, we need you to kick field goals." And our GM, Tom Telesco, was just like, "Look, I wouldn't ask you to do it if I didn't think you could." And for me, it was funny going into it. That was more normal to me than not doing it. You know, from doing it in 2 years in Canada, it was crazy going into that week. I was trying to figure out my warm up for the game because the last 2 years I had just done everything. So I was trying to figure out how to get my warm up going, and then that happened. I was like, oh, I guess we're just going with that, what we were already done.
Dude, I don't even know which question to ask here. I don't.
Yeah, I think the whole experience is something I'll never forget. I think the biggest thing was for me is anyone who knows me knows I'm very, very, very competitive. And, that comes back from my career, from high school to now. In high school, I was behind Richie Leone. A lot of people know who Richie is. He actually signed with Arizona today or yesterday. And my whole life, I've been sort of the afterthought. So for me, coming into this situation, trying to prove myself the whole time. And I was like, what a better way to prove yourself in your first game, do something that not very many, if any, can do. So for me, it was sort of something that fired me up,
So there's a saying, when opportunity and preparation meet, that's called luck.
Yeah.
Was this the first time in your career you had some actual luck?
Yeah, I guess maybe. But then again, like, the reason I'm here is when I was in BC, when I was in the CFL, like, they had signed me as a camp leg. I wasn't even the guy there. And the veteran hurt his quad, and our head coach and GM comes up to me and says, you got 2 days. You got 2 days to show me you can be the guy. If not, we're cutting you or we're trading you. And, so maybe those were two probably defining moments in my career where it was just like, okay, you've been offered an opportunity, now let's go. It's that time where you realize what that opportunity actually can bring,
So Reed Ferguson, he's the long snapper for the Buffalo Bills. He said when he went on the field for his first NFL long snap, he was like, I was crapping my pants. You said you just said, I was like throwing up when I first, trying not to throw up before the game. Now, when you walked on the field, what did you feel like going on for your first NFL rep when I believe it was a kickoff to open up against the Colts?
Yeah, see, the thing is for me is I get so nervous before games. So nervous. And the one thing is, though, I feel once I just get on the field, I'm fine. So, like, for me on game day, I try to get there 3, 4, 4.5 hours early. The earlier I can get there, the better I feel once I get on the field. I'm just going. And that's the big thing for me is, like, me and my dad have always talked about is, like, a lot of people hear nerves and they're just like, oh, this and that. I'm like, if you're nervous, that's good. If you're nervous, you're focused. If you're not nervous, you're not focused on the task you have. You're nervous because you care. Everything you put into it. Nerves are that's the reason people play. People are always looking for that adrenaline. That's that feeling you're looking for. So yeah, you're nervous all the way up into it, and then you're there, and it's like, oh, I've done this millions of times. Now it's just go.
So what are the nerves that you feel though? Obviously you care,
Mhm.
but like what does that feel like?
Um, just the butterflies in your stomach. It's just like that. Yeah, I don't. It's that feeling you're sort of addicted to. It's that feeling that you're like, oh, here we go. But it's that feeling you also live for. I think it's such a weird feeling, and yeah, I think it's like I was talking to one of our rookies the other day. I was like, I wanna let you know something. Everyone on the field is nervous. Everyone. If they weren't nervous, they wouldn't be playing. That's when guys retire. And that feeling is like, I think everyone has a different description for how they feel. Like my first game, like I was saying, I felt like I was gonna throw up. Like I wasn't making that up. They caught me at a very vulnerable moment after the game, and I was just like, look, that's how I felt. Not every game do I feel like I'm gonna throw up, but you just feel that, like, it's like right before that game, that opportunity, everything you're working for, it's like, all right, here we go. If it was that big job interview, that big test, whatever it is, it's just that feeling where everything you prepared for, it's time to go now.
But between the pregame and walking on the field, the nerves kind of go away, they subside, and now you go into the game mode because you're ultra competitive. Does that just happen? Like, praise God, that's a gift? Or is it something that you've mentally rehearsed and earned that title of, I'm walking on this field and I'm ready?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that's how I was raised, and for me, it's like there's so many times like I could have a warm up and I'm just like can't find it. Like in the warm up, you're sort of figuring things out, and then it's time that whistle blows, and it's like, oh, got it now. It's more like now you're reacting. So yeah, I think part of it is that competitive edge that clicks in. Like out now, it's like no more time to mess around. It's time to go focus on your task, go do your job. So for me, it's something clicks. I don't know what it is, but something in my brain just clicks where it's like go.
Sure.
Hmm.
And it's something maybe that you were raised with. Look, let's talk about the world of suck that you were in. Okay. You have been totally overlooked throughout your career. In high school, when others were getting offers to USC, LSU, Florida, who was there for you?
Yeah, not my dad in UAB. UAB came out of nowhere, and that's the thing. I got UAB 2 weeks before signing day.
Dude,
That
wait, 2 weeks before signing day?
that was I had South Alabama. That was the first school to offer me, and I was at the Alabama camp. I went to all the camps my senior year, and won the Alabama camp, won the Vanderbilt camp, won all these camps. Alabama offered Adam Griffith. A lot of these camps, they just went with other guys. And I'll tell you this, a lot of guys had bigger legs than me at the time. And that's very attractive for a college coach, right? So in that regard, I do understand that. But, um, it was funny when UAB came, it wasn't flashy, wasn't anything. They sucked. They weren't winning a lot of games. We didn't win a lot of games when I was there. But
They don't even
it,
have a program anymore. They
no,
didn't for a
they're
year,
due
but
now.
but it came
They're due.
back.
But yeah, it went away.
Right? It
And
went away.
yeah, and it was a very weird ordeal, and I've always asked my dad that. I always asked him, I was like, why don't people believe in me? Like, what do I do that gives people a reason not to believe in me? I work my butt off. I'm focused on what I do. I'm early. I show up, and for whatever reason, um, it felt like that's how it was. And even though it might have been not been true, but that's what I felt. And yeah, so UAB and then Washington, Pittsburgh. Both Pittsburgh cut me before I even kicked the ball. And then
This
so
is
I went to
Washington Redskins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we're transitioning to the NFL.
yeah.
Okay.
So I had my career at UAB, and good career. Did everything I was asked, and loved my time there. And went to Washington and beat the guy out. Got cut. Um, Waited the year, signed in Pittsburgh, They told me the job was there to win or have an opportunity to win. I either knew Chris Boswell was there. I knew the opportunity was more play, get some film, get traded, sign somewhere. I knew what that was. But they cut me before rookie minicamp, cut me day of rookie minicamp. Drove home, literally straight, Pittsburgh to Birmingham. Was like, I'm done. This is ridiculous. Like,
I'm done with football.
I'm done with football. Yeah, I was done. And
so you were angry.
I was really mad because they didn't even Danny Smith didn't even cut me, and I just got a phone call, So I didn't even get to see anyone, get to talk to anyone, so I was out. Drove straight back from Pittsburgh to Birmingham. Get to Birmingham, literally I got about 20 miles out, and granted, the first 11 hours I was like, I'm done. Like I was coming to the grips with it, and then I got about 20 miles out of Birmingham, and I was like, one more shot. I'm gonna give it one more shot. Then this is where it gets pretty good. I was trying to reach out to CFL teams because Richie Leone went up there and had some success, and he was coming back down. We were reaching out to CFL teams. And I forgot to put this with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh cut me because they said they needed someone who could punt. I forgot to add that in there. They cut me because they said they needed someone who could punt.
Oh, the irony.
And so the next year, 10, 11 months, me and my agent, I'm like, just give me somewhere. Okay. And one more thing. Forgot about before Pittsburgh, I played in the FXFL for the Brooklyn Bolts. You've never heard of that. Okay.
Is that a professional 6-man team?
Essentially. My agent was like, look, there's Josh Freeman. There's some big name guys who are going up there to play.
Yeah.
That you can get some film. That's how Pittsburgh ended up signing. I lived in Brooklyn, New York, took the train every day. Oh my God. Took the train every day to Coney Island just to do this. And when I tell you, there was some days where I'm riding on this train, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And so funny. So I'm trying to get some CFL workouts, just anything. Worked out for Edmonton, had one of those days, couldn't hit a ball. Made every field goal, probably averaged over 50, 52, all touchbacks. We're good. We're going to go in a different direction. I'm like, I can't even get a CFL team. I can't even get CFL won't even look at me. I don't know what else to do. I'm sick, and it's like in the CFL, I know how good the guys are, but I know I'm better than most of those guys up there. I just knew I was, talent wise. And so then out of nowhere, Richie leaves Arizona or leaves BC to go to Arizona. I get to BC because of him. He's like, look, this guy can play. Just give him an opportunity. Okay. So like, all right, we're going to sign him. We're going to bring him in, let him compete for the job. They signed me 2 weeks later. My buddy, who actually played at UAB before I did, Swayze Waters. They signed Swayze, give him like $50,000 down, $120,000 deal.
Legendary CFL guy, right?
Legendary. He's the Justin Tucker of the CFL.
He was at the Argonauts for a good bit,
yes,
right?
Yes. He was the guy. So pretty much, I'm like, I just signed another deal, and they just signed someone over me again. I'm like, this can't be true.
And $50,000 down is major dollars.
Up
guaranteed
there, yes.
Money in Canada,
especially for a specialist.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like that. If you're worth it, you'll get it. But that's good money.
The NFL equivalent is probably $500,000.
Correct.
Guaranteed.
Correct. Yes, guaranteed. You're getting that money up front. That's good money. $50,000 anyway is good money.
Yes. Yes.
And so I'm thinking, this can't be true. And I end up going up to BC, like, hey. This could be the last time I ever put on a helmet. Here we go, And me and Swayze were competing, and we were great buddy. It was awesome because I got to learn from him. I got to learn a few things from him. And he hurt his quad probably 2 weeks into training camp. And Wally Buono comes up to me and he said, all right, you got 2 days. Here we go. And these are those moments you'll remember your whole career where someone's like, where did it all turn? When did things start going your way? And that was that moment where it was like, all right, everything I had been through, all the the crap people had said. I can't tell you how many people had told me, when are you just going to quit and go get a real job? And it was just like, this is that moment to show them, prove it now.
So this is in 2015?
No, this is 2017.
Oh my God. Dude, you've gone through a decade.
Mm-hmm.
From your freshman year in high school where collegiate recruiting begins, you have been through a decade of the world of, dude, hi, I'm here.
Mm-hmm. You want to know what's crazy though?
Yeah.
As much as it sucked, I wouldn't change. Obviously, I know I'm here. I wouldn't change one thing, because every moment has helped me get ready for another. And that is as truthful as I can say it. It really has.
This is Ty Long. This is the starting punter for the Los Angeles Chargers. He's entering his second year in the NFL. And what you're hearing is a story of grit. This is a story of a slimmer piece of hope and belief in oneself.
Yep. And that's the one thing I always told myself is like, if a guy like me can do this, I mean, I just feel like, dang, this could be some light for someone else. So anyone who's going through anything. I mean, it's just, and that's the thing is that I always told my wife about it. I was like, look, some people might not like me, but they'll respect my journey. You know what I mean? Like, when we play teams, I know they'll root against me, like when we're playing Denver or when we're playing KC. But at the end of the day, when they, it's like when I hear other guys on our team's journey, I'm like, dang. Or when we play other guys, I'm like, that's so cool to hear their journey. I always wanted to be one of those guys. Like, he never had it easy. He got it out of the mud and went for it.
Jason Witten talked about, proving it in the dirt. That's what this is. But what it's also is, reminds me of Jordan Spieth in the 2018 British Open, I believe it was. He hit a ball like so out of bounds that he was actually able to play the shot. They had to move these massive, vans and RVs so that he could play the shot. And nearly blowing up the entire Open Championship. He somehow rebounds, and he has this conversation with Michael Greller, his caddie. And Michael Greller reminded Jordan of a recent trip on a spring break. He played golf, I believe, with Michael Phelps and Michael Jordan. And Greller said to Spieth at a critical point in the round, that group you played with? I think they played in Mexico or something like that. And Jordan's like, yeah. And Greller goes, I need you to believe that you belong in that group. And that slimmer of hope fueled Jordan to that championship.
Yeah, that I remember that specific shot. I didn't know that story. I didn't know that part of it. And it's really cool to hear that part. And he's in this moment of, even him had to be told, hey, remember this, you belong here, right? And I think that shows what even the best of the best still sometimes don't think they are. And that's something I've learned too, is like, we get here because we don't think we're the best. And that moment of seeing something like that, and I know we both know how it turned out for Jordan, and he made that shot to win that tournament. And it's just, that's really cool to hear, to see in the other sport, that sport aligns a lot with our sport and especially our jobs. And it's really cool to hear because, Spieth's obviously a baller.
And you know what? Maybe you belong in that group.
Yeah, I try to think I do, but I don't let myself think it consistently, because it's like, I know I can be there. But the thing that pushes me every day is like, you're close. You're close. You're close. It's the second you think you've arrived, you haven't. It's always striving for that next step.
You wake up every morning at nothing, working to something. With that kind of mindset, you'll recognize there's another level of progression. And in the NFL, there seems to be stages in the NFL for kickers. You talked about Richie Leone. He went in for a workout for the Arizona Cardinals. Sounds like he got signed, so he, may be on the practice squad. So between workout, practice squad, there's a level. Getting invited to training camp, awesome. But there's another progression. Getting, like you said earlier, going into the Pittsburgh, I'm just hoping to get some film, preseason film. Okay? Now there's the regular season. Wow, you're on the active roster. Thursday, I think, is when they have to cut off to say who's our active, because it's not, everyone thinks it's a 52-man roster that's active on Sunday. No. It's 48 guys, right? It might be 49 this year with, whatever, but that Friday comes, you're on the roster. You're suiting up. You've got your name will be stitched on the back of a jersey. So you've gotten to that level. How do you earn the job in the NFL, and how do you keep this job in the NFL?
Not only do you have to be consistent on the field, you got to be consistent off the field. It is literally showing up every day, leaving what happened at home with the family, everything, leaving that at the door, walking in the door, it's time for work. I think the biggest thing is treating every day like game day. Every day I have a punt period, it is game day. It is, I am focusing on every single rep. And, the one thing I've seen with some great players I've played with is when it's time to go, they turn it on. It don't matter if it's game day. It don't matter if it's practice. It don't matter if it's OTAs, whatever it is. And I think the biggest thing is just consistently being consistent every day. Showing up, same person. They know what they're going to get every single day.
And that's how you've maintained your job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's your preparation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Same thing. If I do things down to the T, down to the minute, everything, when I go out on the field, if it's a 1:00 kickoff, every game I'll be out there at starting to warm up at 10:52. Whatever it is, I try to be exact on everything. And that's how I tick, and that's something that's helped me is I know when I stay more to my schedule, my routine, that's when I do my best.
Keith Duncan, who's an All-American kicker at Iowa last week in the Big Ten Roundtable, talked about like scripting his games, whether it's a night away game or a morning home game. And it sounds like from what you're saying is consistent with that is like, look, I know what I'm going to do. I don't just go out there without a plan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It starts the night before. I don't go to sleep until I visualize the entire game. I've had games where we got 12 o'clock kickoff. I'm up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get my visualization down. Like I can't go to sleep until I get every rep exactly how I see it, and it's funny. I had a time in college. I got when I started to get really good with it, you've been in this business a while, you start to feel when things are going to happen. And I was laying there and I got done doing my visualization, and my punter in college, Hunter Mullins, I'm looking at him, I was like, hey, we're going to hit a game winner tomorrow. He's like, what are you talking? I was like, I feel it. We're going to hit a game winner tomorrow at FAU. He's like, no. And then we're jogging down the field. It was like a 22-yard chip shot. It was a game winner. I was like, I told you. And it's just something I felt it, and that doesn't happen often, but that's something I got done with my visualization. It was like, I just felt it was going to happen.
Some people listening on this podcast are high school kids, maybe some, younger college guys who don't even know how to spell visualization. What are you talking about?
So I'll sit here and go through my warm-up routine, go through certain reps in the game, knowing what a team gives me that week. I've done my film study. I know what a team's tendencies are for me, and I will visualize reps in certain situations during the game. If it's 10, I'll usually go 5 punts, 6 punts one way, 5, 6 another, a few kickoffs, and I do a few field goals just to be safe, even if I'm not kicking field goals. And I try to visualize every single rep and make it perfect every single time.
Wow. So one thing that we skipped over, which was you had an amazing career in the CFL. You talked about how you got the job, you kept the job, you get, I believe, basically all pro 2 consecutive seasons.
Yeah.
The team then releases you, and now you are back on the free agent market. You go from being the best in the business to being unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what were you thinking?
Yeah, so it was a crazy ordeal. Right when the season ended, it was like I told my agent before I went up there, I said, look, I'm gonna go up here, we're gonna go take care of business, and then it's on you to get these workouts. And he was like, all right, let's do it. And by the season, the day, probably a week after the season ended, he called me. He's like, we got 17 workouts. We got 17 teams who want to bring you in. And I'm like, all right, here we go. So I got married December 8th. And then we didn't go on a honeymoon because workout started. December 10th, I was in New York with the Jets and went from there and I think we made it to like 10 workouts. And the Chargers won. And the crazy thing about the Chargers workout was that there was some storms in Dallas. And this was 2019, 18, whatever. There's some storms in Dallas, whatever it was. And I'm flying from Birmingham. The flight got canceled. And I call my agent and I'm like, Dallas or the Chargers are saying we gotta postpone the workout or something. And he's like, all right, we'll figure it out. And I didn't think the Chargers were serious because I was coming back as a kicker. I wasn't coming back as a punter, and the Chargers wanted me as a punter kickoff guy. And I didn't think that opportunity was going to come about. So I was just like, what should we just cancel it? Should we just move on? And my agent's like, no, we should go to the workout. And I was like, all right, we're going to go to the workout. Well, the Chargers are like, hey, we're not postponing the workout. We're just going to fly you in at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So you'll leave 5 a.m. The workout's at noon here.
You leave it.
So I leave Birmingham 5
3 a.m. LA time, right?
Yeah. I get to LA at 11. I think it was like early 11:05. Never forget it. Workouts at noon. Okay. I just flew across the country.
You land at LAX at 11.
LAX. Yeah. Get down. Or John Wayne. About 20 minutes.
Okay.
John Wayne.
Santa Ana. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Get to the facility. Literally like over here, just adjusting my back, getting everything ready. Gave me about 10, 15 minutes. Workout.
What was going on that flight? I mean, you weren't sitting first class.
No. So Birmingham flew to Atlanta. Get to Atlanta, the flight gets delayed 2 hours. Now, thankfully, the Atlanta flight, they gave me essentially a first class ticket. So I had some, it wasn't first class, but I had room.
Okay? Yeah, they gave you 2.5 more inches.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll call that main cabin plus.
And so and I'll never forget it. The flight got delayed because the windshield wipers on the plane broke. I'm sitting over there. I'm like, this is not real. Like, this cannot be happening. And I had my Compex machine on, just put it on my lower back so my back didn't get stiff. And I just rode that thing for like 4 hours.
Were you visualizing on the flight?
No, it was done the night before.
Oh my God.
So when I wake up, I'm ready to go. But get to John Wayne, literally had 8 on it. And I do not eat McDonald's. Nothing is McDonald's. I just don't eat it. They didn't have time to give me food. So I grabbed McDonald's at the airport, ate 2 burgers, went straight to the workout, ended up having a day. I remember I went like 12 for 12 on field goals, 2 or 3 for 3 on touchbacks. And I don't think I missed a punt.
That is useful.
And that was one of those things. That's one of those moments when you get done, you're just like, all right, you can do this. That's just one of those other moments that I'll never forget. But now that I'm here too.
Okay, so you don't forget that moment, but in that moment, are you like, hey, agent, do you call Mrs. Long? Do you call your agent? Was it a 3-way?
We had, and I'm not going to say the teams. We were negotiating with 2 teams at this time. And we thought the other team was going to make the deal happen. And then once the Chargers found out that we were negotiating with 2 other teams, they got involved. And it was one of those things where the Chargers were essentially like, look, we don't want him going anywhere. We don't want him going to another workout. And they we started talking about numbers, this and that, but the deal wasn't closed. I ended up going to 1 or 2 more workouts. And then one of those teams started negotiating. And then I think it was 2 days later, the Chargers made an offer that I was like, all right, this is where I'm going to go.
So this is in late May, early June of 2019?
No, this is end of December, right after my CFL season. Right? So I finished the season and then started the workout circuit. Yep.
My gosh, dude. You bet on yourself.
Every time.
My gosh. So now you go from the nerdy guy at the lunch table that none of the girls want to talk to. Okay, you've been bouncing around, and then now they look at you, and all of a sudden you're the cool kid.
Yeah, I mean,
and you've got the leverage.
Yeah, and that's the first time in my life I've ever had leverage.
Ever. This is 10 years from the world of suck, and the destination is hell. Mm-hmm. The destination is nowhere. It's not hell. It's just death. Mm-hmm. It's the death of a. Hey, the line to the left is very long of NFL free agents that tried and failed, and it was over. Mm-hmm. The end of the road. The curtain closed.
I just thought if I kept trying, it'd happen.
Dude, are you the most unlikely NFL punter?
Probably. I mean, I think about that. You know, it's so funny because one of our coaches came up to me and he was just like joking around. He's like, "Hey, congrats on making the team." I was like, "Thank you." He was like, "You were going to be our guy." I was like, No, I know that. But you don't ever take a day in this business for granted. I don't take that for granted. You know, so making a team every year is a huge accomplishment. You know, and it's just like, it's something I don't forget. And it's like every time I'm like, when I made it last year, I was just like, take a deep breath for a second, let it all out. All right, now let's go. You know?
And I think that's your consistency, dude. You are consistently grateful for the moment that you have, which is right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not getting ahead of yourself. You're not looking at the next stages that I'm going to go throw at you because you're just too busy worried about the present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's something I've learned with, we all learn that, you know, but that's something I've learned with time is just focusing on what I have now. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about the past. Control what you can control now and go.
Well, give us a story from your rookie season in the NFL that sticks out to you.
Week 2, stress fracture in my 5th metatarsal on my plant foot. Essentially break my foot week 2. Thinking, I've made the team. I'm here. And now I hurt my foot. And so I'm doing all 3 and I'm like, something just don't feel right. And I told him I was fine. I was like, I'm good. You know, Chargers are like, oh, you're good. Oh, you're good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Get to the 3rd game. I'm like, starting to really hurt, you know, and I make all my kicks. Then we get to the Miami game and I'm like, at kickoff, I'm like, I hardly can walk. Like it is like that bad on my plant foot. You know how you land on the outside, that bone right there. And I ended up in the game. I'm warming up, couldn't make a kick. I'm telling you, I couldn't make a kick in warm-ups. And then our special teams coach comes up to me, Stu. I mean, that's first off, let me tell you how thankful I am to play for him. George Stewart. I mean, this guy's the best. And he comes up to me and he's like, you think this little injury is going to stop you from what you've been through? You know, let's go. You know, and it was just, that was a reminder. And we go out there and I think, I know we went 5 for 5 on extra points, 3 for 3 on field goals, 45, 46, 51, and had a game. You know, we won the game. And that was that moment where it's like playing through that. It's like, all right, now I've made it. Then freaking get hurt second game, you know, and didn't know it. But then I got everything done after the Miami game. They're like, yeah, you're hurt, you know. And then I just punted for the next 8 weeks and then I came back.
And that's really the reason why you finished the season as a punter.
Yep.
Because you had a pretty decent field goal percentage, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I was hitting the ball well.
Yeah, you were. And here's one more note about 2019 LA Chargers. You guys had, out of 16 games, I think 10 of them were decided by 3 points or less, or a score or less.
Crazy.
So you're critical every time your foot, broken or unbroken, touched that ball, it was going to decide the game, at least in retrospect.
Yeah, it was every game I felt like came down to the last drive. It was nuts.
Dude, well, this is a story of grit. This is a story of gratitude. This is a story of, I'm going to go get it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go get it now because I know what my other options are.
Yeah.
Dude, I wanted to bring up the Odell Beckham returning a touchdown on your missed 59-yarder.
Yep. That's a good one.
But we're going to have to do that on another podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe episode 2 of the Ty Long after a successful 2020 season. But all you're worried about is week 1, which is this Sunday.
Can't wait.
Dude, congratulations on today. I'm not going to congratulate you on a career. I'm just going to congratulate you today. Today you were an LA Charger. Today you are a loving husband. And you know what? You got a huge fan from me, and I'm rooting for you, brother.
I appreciate you, bro. I really do. It means a lot.
Ty Long, there he goes.
If you enjoyed the content, man, drop a like, comment, or even subscribe. It would be really cool to hear from you. Also, you can find Simple Kicking on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and even TikTok.